and last.
It's still strong. It is not spoiled. Courvoisier, cognac, whatever you want to call it, alcohol doesn't spoil. Okay. So for those guys who are pissed off that the bars and the liquor operators will not be able to be functioning from today on up until the 21 days, you stay away from those bars. Go home. Make some juice, golden apple juice. All that is good stuff. Before we get the program on the way again, I want to deal with one more issue, and that has to do, and I'm hurrying in my way there because we have 5 minutes to get the program. A gentleman by the name of Mr. Springer, we don't do the full name here, but a gentleman by the name of Mr. Springer, talking all kinds of nonsense about the Prime Minister, derogatory names, calling him all kinds of names. I remember growing up as a young man, and Radio Antilles was the radio of the entire Caribbean, maybe not even, it is not the entire world. And this gentleman was given a God-given talent with a voice. Every youngster, every elderly person listened to him, and we were so proud of him for being a St. Lucian to be over there in Montreal on Radio Antilles. And when he came to St. Lucia, he continued, and he was a great man. Today, this gentleman has gotten himself involved with the bosom of the Labour Party, and he has chosen to criticize the Prime Minister. Mr. Springer's character, and I'm going to say today, I'm not a perfect person, I have my faults. Mr. Springer's character is nowhere close to the Honorable Prime Minister. As a matter of fact, this man today, I will not say to all of St. Lucia what he does on the evenings, where he hangs out. I'm going to let you do your own observation on that. Do your research. But I know when people listen, people listening to me know, this man has no authority to talk anything about the Honorable Prime Minister. You wanted to say something, Mr. Peter, although we have not started, but go ahead.
I'm just hearing, Champagne, that I've heard different people say this. I didn't hear it myself.
Yeah.
But you know what? In the course of life, what people do, how they change, because of my age,
yeah.
I have seen people change from, 100% to 0% to nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And change is one of the most important constants in life.
Right.
And I just want to say to you as a friend and as a guy I believe who has places to go, do not ever be surprised by people. And when you hear things like that about the name you mentioned,
yeah.
I think the attitude should be, you know what, St. Lucia? I don't think we can go back to listening to this guy. He's not the same person.
Yeah.
You don't know where his mind is. You were talking about alcohol. I have no information where I can judge. But I know that if your mind can be affected by drugs, by alcohol, by all kind of foreign things.
Yeah.
And so I prefer to be charitable to people like that. Because as far as I'm concerned, I do not know that the gentleman is in a particular party, that he holds any position.
Right.
I don't even know if he was paid to do that as a PR or mouthpiece for a party or a minister.
Right.
I do not know his financial situation. So I'll be very careful.
Right.
But if he was a frontline member of the opposition, leader of the opposition, deputy leader, chairman of party, secretary of party, then I would think it opportune, and I think it my duty to really fall down in his skin and then correct him, and as I said earlier, give the correct information.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something, Champagne, our time is limited on this radio. We have 2 hours.
Yes.
All we should do is the solutions, we brush that aside as if it's a fly. But don't waste time on that.
Oh, no.
Because nobody with any sense will listen to that, because that's obviously a person who has a problem. I didn't listen, I haven't listened, but I've heard sufficient people speak about it.
Yeah, I would say
and using my experience, I know.
Yeah.
I've been there, Champagne. I've been there.
Of course.
So
let's not waste time on that.
That's correct.
And it would have been an insult to this radio station if I had heard this.
No, don't do that. We don't make it negativity. We have too many positive things to say. Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah, so let's start our show, man. Let's go.
It is 7 minutes after the hour of 10 o'clock, and we want to say to you again a special good morning once again, and thank you for joining us. We, as always, have every Wednesday in two great gentlemen, two beautiful St. Lucians in the persons of Mr. Peter Josie and Sir Michael Chastanet. And this program is recorded, so it's going to be aired tomorrow, rebroadcast tomorrow at 8:30 on channel 115, GVD TV, and then again at 1 o'clock on that same channel, GVD TV, on a Sunday afternoon. Mr. Chastanet, good morning, sir. I see you're looking bright as ever.
I'm feeling very wonderful this morning. I had a good sleep and a good shower.
Yes,
I'm ready to roll.
All right, great. And Mr. Josie, likewise, it looked like you guys plan to be here in blue.
I feel all right. Smart. As a matter of fact, I have a few more blue shirts.
Let me say this. I got so many responses on last week's show after it was aired on TV. And people were saying, but where are these two babies? Well,
remember, blue is a democratic color in the United States. So
no, they were talking about
the party in
that's
power.
true. Yes, they were talking about the faces,
the image on television.
The image on TV. One guy said to me, but that was not Mr. Peter Josie. I said, that's Mr. Peter Josie. He said, well, he looks great. Another lady called me and said, but you see the Prime Minister's dad, he has a baby face.
Oh, that's not so good.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, sir, with your preamble.
Gentlemen, I heard a discussion when I came in concerning a particular individual, and I concur with my partner, Mr. Josie, that we should not spend much time. But I have to give it a couple minutes as a result of something which happened over the weekend.
Okay.
That is, I'm sure some St. Lucians have heard the comments passed by Mr. Springer, but it's rather coincidental that I was in the south of the island over the weekend at Massey's supermarket when a mother came in with her daughter, and incidentally the daughter's name, for the sake of covering up, I will not say too much, but I will give the correct name of the child, Janaya Dashville.
Okay.
A 6-year-old child who came in the supermarket with her mother, and I will air the picture on television so the St. Lucia can see for themselves what happened. And the mother said to me, in the last 12 months, this child has repeatedly told her and her other direct families, do not support the Labour Party anymore. They are from Labrie area, okay?
Wow.
They are staunch SLP supporters. And this one child, 6 years of age, was able to convert the household.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The reason why she was able to convert the household, she told her mother, Mama, Prime Minister Chastanet has to be supported. He's the only one that can lead us into a better St. Lucia.
Wow.
Yeah?
At 6 years?
Yeah, at 6 years of age. And every morning she goes to school, the mother said to me, she insists that she has only yellow ribbons in her hair.
Isn't that good?
I will circulate the picture of the child when we reproduce our show.
Wow, that is brilliant.
But you know, Champagne, sometimes we forget what's said yesterday when we come today.
Yeah.
I want to remind St. Lucia, we didn't say it, you didn't say it, Brother Josie didn't say it. A caller called this program come months ago, and I noted what she said. I'm going to read it to St. Lucia one more time.
Yeah.
Similarities with the St. Lucia Labour Party and Donald Trump.
Oh yes, I remember that.
The Labour Party, just like Trump, never accepted defeat.
That is a fact.
The leader of the party never congratulated Honorable Alan Chastanet, just like Trump never congratulated Biden.
Very true, very true.
The Labour Party keeps saying we're going to get our country back, just like Trump does not want to leave the White House. Trump's political color is red. Labour Party's political color is red.
It's true.
Opens his mouth to speak, it's stupidity, just like Trump. The St. Lucia Labour Party is a compulsive liar, so too is Trump. Trump's cabinet is afraid to say anything contrary to what he says. Kenny's cabinet is the same.
Same.
The Labour Party did not take the COVID-19 virus pandemic seriously, just like Trump.
Yes.
Now, we didn't say that, Champion.
Yeah, we had to call in.
We can actually produce the tape.
Yes.
Where an individual called.
Yes.
I was so impressed,
you were impressed
with that
yes.
analogy
yes.
that I had it put on paper.
Yes, I remember the same day that you called me after the show when you said that caller, you were very impressed with that analogy.
You know, what is going on in St. Lucia today is totally unacceptable as far as the Labour Party is concerned. Mm-hmm. Last night I listened to the Norbert show, and he highlighted what was going on, somebody getting a link and disturbing. When will they stop with their nonsense? Now, I know, Champagne, that certain shows have their supporters, but I was amazed at the level of intelligent calls that were received on Norbert's show last night and this morning on his show concerning the way forward for St. Lucia. People are getting fed up. Fed up and fed up. What I'm hearing generally, people are now seeing through the Labour Party. What a guy, he made a very good statement. He said, look at me, you want to get into power? Tell me, give me a plan.
Yes.
No plan has been formulated.
Not in 4.5 years.
A continuous criticism, criticism, okay? And when we go down to the depths of what Springer did, that is the lowest of lows. The lowest of lows. But I have my views on what he said. I will reserve my response for another time.
Listen, I would indulge with if you, well, you said another time, but I would have put some heat on it this morning. Although Brother Peter said that it's not worth talking about. It's, you know.
It's so but stupid and décassé.
But listen to the individual it's coming from. This is a gentleman, all of us, and I've said it before, all of us in the 80s and early 90s.
You must be careful. He may no longer be a gentleman.
Well, probably not.
You see, you have to be able to think of these things, you know. He could have been a gentleman then and today be a totally different animal.
Yes.
You see the point I'm trying to make? As I'm saying, I didn't hear the program, I haven't seen the guy.
Yes.
So, like Mr. Sir Michael Chastanet, I will reserve judgment. If I say anything at all, it will not be today.
I understand.
Okay?
Because you have not heard anything.
Remember, he did the same thing in the last election.
Yes, he did.
It's a repeat of the recycling garbage.
And so, Michael, did that help the party he was supporting?
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Thank you.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Like Brother Josie said, let's leave that alone.
We're wasting our time on that.
I just said we just take a couple of minutes because we have more important things to discuss.
I believe the story you gave about that little girl is something that needs to be expanded.
It will be.
I'll tell you what. I am not a born-again Christian or anything, and I say that all the time.
Yes, you do.
But I know, not I believe, I know that there's a spiritual force. Some people choose to say Jah, Jehovah, God, Allah, whatever. I know that. And when I hear of a child like that, I know that child is already charged with a special spirit. That is a young girl on the way to greatness. Only a spiritual power, say Jah, say Jehovah, say God, say Allah, can cause that child to be so intelligent to say what she said.
Correct. You know,
that is my opinion. Okay.
Don't forget the 16-year-old guy in Sweden concerning climate change.
Exactly.
Right. You see, now you have to respect you. 6 years of age.
When she gets to 16, she'll be worse than the one
precisely.
in Sweden.
And the mother told me every time the Prime Minister comes on, she wants to be there to listen to her. 6 years
That's
of age.
inspiring.
Okay.
That's inspiring.
So, okay. On that score, gentlemen, I'm going to start with my preamble.
Yes, sir.
This morning. The heading of my preamble today is the negative side of misinformation. The birth of Twitter and Facebook were fully embraced by the world. And then all hell broke loose. And individuals simply did not have the education, the integrity, and honesty to handle this powerful instrument, other than being able to abuse the technological advancement provided to the world. Right before our eyes, we witnessed the most powerful man in the world abuse the system for 4 years, leading the US into the largest mess in over 250 years. What more evidence can we ask for to appreciate the kind of damage misinformation is capable of unleashing onto our people, our economies, and our political standing? The experience in the US is sufficient for the entire world to see and hear with their own eyes and ears. Because of the finances in the US, they may be able to buy themselves out of this unfortunate situation. But we in the Caribbean won't be as lucky and fortunate. Can we imagine for a moment that our Twitter and Facebook accounts being withdrawn from most of us tomorrow for disseminating misinformation? If the most powerful man in the world could have his account withdrawn, how long would it take for such action to be directed to a third world nation like St. Lucia? We should start thinking twice regarding this affair, as the world is changing quickly, and there comes a time when a sense of discipline will be implemented by conglomerates which have witnessed the damage caused by the abuse of their technology. The old saying that the longest rope has an end holds good today, as always, and take into account the repercussions of not being able to get our message across. Just think of the downturn to our business community. Unfortunately, the individuals responsible for this misinformation are the ones who have the least to lose, as they are already the losers of the world. My focus today, however, remains on St. Lucia, where misinformation remains rampant, especially as general elections are around the corner. St. Lucians must remain alert in the days and months ahead, as any belief in misinformation can have catastrophic consequences. Any change in administration at this time will witness the end of several major projects which have taken years to be brought to fruition come to an abrupt end by an administration incapable of continuing all the hard work over the last 4 years. 3 months after the euphoria of the 2011 elections, reality manifested itself. But then, it was too late to make any adjustments. Remember the $100 million story with jobs, jobs, jobs were promised, and we don't have to remind St. Lucians of the outer. Right before our eyes, regardless of what misinformation the opposition disseminates, the John Compton Dam, which had to be desilted, remained a promise for 10 years until this administration addressed the problem. The same applied to the Grace Water development in the south, which remained another promise, and today the project is ongoing with a completion date of December 2021. Additionally, the Wasco headquarters is 60% completed as the South gets ready to take on 2021 and beyond with a loud bang. A complement of Japanese engineers and technicians are presently on island and in the Cade Valley to commence works on the longest and most sophisticated bridge in the history of St. Lucia. This bridge is to be constructed in the Cade Valley to address the major flooding in that area over the last 30 years. This exercise also encompasses the redirection of the main road from the Massey Cul-de-sac store to the existing cul-de-sac exit to Vieux-Fort, where a major roundabout will be constructed. A Canadian organization has now won the tender for the Millennium Highway and its extension to Soufrière via Anseray and Canneries, where major realignment works and bridges will be brought to a higher standard. The old Dyer Mall reconstruction commences between January 2021 and February 2021, and several clients have already expressed their interest in occupying the various offices and commercial offerings. As of today, some 30 top specialists from abroad have headed to the Heineken brewery in the south to assist in the technical side of the $50 million project. This project is now 50% completed, and based on the foregoing, an additional 60 St. Lucians employed as a result of this expansion. The OKEU was a 4-year promise, and the current administration made it happen. The Victoria Hospital, which was a total disgrace for years and years and years, has been transformed into a top-class respiratory center for COVID-19 patients. The increase in COVID cases is in the hands of all St. Lucians to follow the protocols available. If we remain negligent, there is little any government can do. And if the disobedience continues, cases will rise and deaths will increase. Look at the US today as a perfect example of non-adherence. Discipline is the way forward until the vaccine program makes a dent in the population of the major countries. With all professional intervention by the various authorities in Barbados, the COVID cases have actually grown as a result of the festive season, and now cases are hovering in the vicinity of 600. Once the virus enters the community, it becomes extremely challenging to manage the spread, and it is only a question of time before the virus penetrates our communities. The recent comments by certain individuals that the front door entries remain responsible for the additional COVID cases in St. Lucia is false, based on the reasoning that all international flights be curtailed. St. Lucia cannot operate in isolation, as commercial activities must go on to keep the country alive. Within the region, Trinidad, with all its natural resources, is the only island which has kept its borders closed, and one glance at the Trinidad economy will show the serious consequences. Many business houses and individuals are simply unable to source foreign exchange, many business houses and individuals are simply unable to source standard goods and services abroad based on the terrible situation of their foreign exchange status. Yet the virus cases skyrocketed. And remember, as I said, the borders were closed. The borders were closed. More importantly, many businesses in St. Lucia, our farmers included, have been unable to be paid for several months as a result of the Trinidad's foreign exchange shortfall. I repeat that. Many businesses and farmers, for their shipment of bananas to Trinidad, are still awaiting payment as a result of the damage done to their foreign exchange for closure of its borders. A country which has all those natural resources. Okay? St. Lucia, these are the consequences of mismanagement in a COVID atmosphere despite all their resources. Please take heed and understand very clearly what I have said today. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for your preamble. And we go over to Mr. Josie.
Yes, Champagne. Good morning to you again. Good morning, Sir Michael. And good morning to our listeners. I want to start on a completely different note this morning. And I think it was last week, Sir Michael, you paid tribute to Butch Stewart. Today I want to begin by paying tribute to Charles Cade.
Yes.
When Charles Cade passed away a couple of days ago, I heard a lot of people speak to him, of him rather, as a national icon, especially in the arts. When I first knew Charles Cade, he was superintendent of agriculture. And he was the person who interviewed me when I made an application from the audit department to join the Ministry of Agriculture. In those days, it was not a ministry, it was just a simple department of government. Mm-hmm. We were still a colonial territory. And from that day, that gentleman has been good to me until his death, until his passing. And I would say because of Charles Cade, I became very interested in agriculture, in all aspects of agriculture, to the point where I became a minister of agriculture in St. Lucia. During my short stint as minister, I visited England. I'm not sure, I remember now what the purpose was, but I found myself in England, and Mr. Charles Cade was the St. Lucia attaché. At that time we were independent, on trade, representing all the different trade aspects for St. Lucia, including, of course, our most important export at the time, bananas. So besides being an instrument in the productivity and production of bananas, Charles Cade also supported the farmers and the people who produce anything that could have been sold in England at that level. And I remember at that time, of course, he remembered me all the time. I had remembered him, but he obviously knew more about me than I knew about him. And at that time, he suggested to me, at the age you are now, Peter, I think you should make up your mind, as you're in England, to take a thorough check, you know, do a physical. And he suggested to me that there were some great doctors on a very famous street in London. I think they called it Haley Street. And these doctors had their own X-ray machines, all sophisticated equipment that hospitals in the Caribbean had. These guys had them in their own offices. So I said, okay, if you think I should do that, I will. He said, don't worry about cost, you're working. When the time comes, you'll pay me back. I said, fine. So we went, do the whole thing, and that's the first time I had, you know, a doctor do a thorough examination, my prostate. I didn't know what the examination looked like at the time, but of course, obviously, when I left there, I knew. And everything turned out to be all right. But at least I knew what my health status was at the time because of Charles Cade. And I went to see him a couple of times after I left politics, and he had retired at his home, and we had a very long conversation. And I remember Charles Cade very fondly. I don't remember him as any cultural icon, although I knew he had a good singing voice. I didn't hear a lot of his Poinsettia Blossoms being played on the radio or television this past Christmas. I don't know why. And I don't want to say anything that sounds critical, but it's almost like the guy you mentioned earlier. The people who knew him when he was younger and such a brilliant voice on radio, so that was one side of him. And there are people who now, the younger generation, may only remember him today as he is today. I am very fortunate that God has blessed me that I knew Mr. Cade when he was the main man doing all the experimentation at Union. Then I think it was Frankie Leonce, another great St. Lucian agriculturist, who followed Mr. Cade, and subsequently it was Calix George, my good friend Calix George. So because the English were in the Caribbean, and the only reason we had slaves was for agricultural production. So that is how important agriculture was, whether it was sugarcane, cocoa, coffee, you know, citrus or bananas. So I just want to pay this tribute to Charles Cade and to say how sorry I am. I know all of us must go. He was 90. And when you get to 90, you know, you can do what you want. You're not 50 or 40 anymore. So I just wanted to say these few words. I know his family, his wife was married to Dr. Le Corbusier, so the former Attorney General Le Corbusier, and the great economist who worked with the Bank of St. Lucia, who was managing director at one time, I think Mr. Le Corbusier. These were his nephews. So they came from a bright, brilliant family, a lot of brains.
Okay.
And I'm very grateful for all he did for me as a young person, as a young man.
All right. Okay, well, we want to say, share our condolences from all of us here at Sky FM to the family of Mr. Cade.
For all he did for me as a young person, as a young man.
All right. Okay, well, we want to say, share our condolences from all of us here at Sky FM to the family of Mr. Cade.
Okay, I want to say the second part of what I want to say this morning is this. I actually came, so Michael, they say great minds think alike. I won't tell you what they say about the other side of a great mind. I came to say that there is a parallel between Mr. Trump's lies and the rise of racism, bigotry, and hatred in the United States. The SLP is in a way like him, and I wouldn't repeat all what Sir Michael said, but I had all these things down to say this morning. I think the SLP is a lost cause, and it's a disappointment that the party is so lost. But I have to say and make it clear, I do not believe that the present leadership of the SLP, and I refer to all the people in the SLP from the political leader to secretary to...
Yeah, the executive.
Yeah, to bottle washer. I don't believe all of them, any of them, would advise or encourage their supporters to invade the parliament buildings of St. Lucia and to urinate and defecate in that building as some people did in the capital in the United States.
You're saying you don't think?
I don't think they'll do that.
Wow.
But let me quickly add that I'm equally certain that there are at least 3 people, 1 female and 2 males, who are SLP party hacks, who are on television quite often, 1 female and 2 males, and who would encourage St. Lucians to do the worst, dangerous ones, if they invade parliament. The same thing, to urinate, defecate. These are not frontline people running for the SLP.
Right.
These are the more dangerous ones, the hacks. As Williams likes to call them the hackalacks.
The hackalacks, yeah.
I prefer to just call them hacks, okay? And the politicians in the Labour Party need to respect the people of St. Lucia. They need to love the people some more. But love is not easy, Champagne. To love something, to love a person, is really putting the person before you, above you, and going out of your way, to living yourself back to do something for the people you love. I cannot see anybody in the St. Lucia Labour Party doing that for the people of St. Lucia. So I don't think they can love. They can pretend to, but they cannot love because they love themselves and like themselves too much. These people are too poor in mind. They are too poor in their hearts, Champagne. They are too poor in their souls. They deny the presence of God too much in St. Lucia and even in their own lives to be able to love the people of St. Lucia, to respect the people of St. Lucia. And that is why that I was not surprised when Mr. Williams, Norbert, referred to the people who try to interfere with a Zoom meeting for the people of St. Lucia, so that some of the best minds in St. Lucia were gathered together. They're always talking about consultation, consultation, consultation. The Prime Minister brought some of the best minds from the medical profession, from the teaching profession, from the public service, from security. All of these people getting together to try to make a plan and arrive at what is the best way forward for the island. It is not Alan Chastanet that will decide that as Prime Minister. He has one point of view. But all of them together, all of us, I was not inside, but all of us St. Lucians, putting our best foot forward to do what is best for our country and our children. And guess what? Somebody who is a sympathizer of the opposition does this kind of thing. Champagne, what kind of mind is that? But again, because of my age, Champagne, and what I've learned, not in books, I'm not surprised, because I had a very good friend in Barbados who lived about 100 yards from Cade campus. I used to go and stay with this guy when I go to Barbados on my own personal business. And he said to me, "Boy, Peter, I don't know how you all St. Lucians, man, and thing, I had a couple of St. Lucians here, man, renting. He had 4 rooms. He said, man, you know the kind of rough sex these people have in there? Shouting and cursing. I had to knock and tell them to calm down.
Yeah, behavior.
Misbehaving.
The behavior, yeah.
I had a friend in Trinidad who told me once, boy, Peter, I don't understand what kind of people your people are, man. They're young women from St. Lucia at the St. Augustine campus all over the place, and he wouldn't be surprised if they're picking fights. I say, no, that's not true. He said, man, you'd be surprised what some of these young people that are supposed to be studying would do. When I think about it, Champagne, and I hear you speak about certain establishments in St. Lucia, you know what I ask myself, and I'll say no more on this, because the guilty ones will want to kill me. You know what I ask myself? Where are these people? Those who misbehave so badly on campus, sell themselves, prostitute themselves, have all kind of demented way of having sex, till the guy, the owner of the house, have to come and stop you all before you all mash up his bed or his room. Where are these people now?
Well,
now that is some years ago, so I'm talking 20 years past, okay?
Well,
so these people must be in their mid-40s, 50s. Yeah. Where are these people? Where are they? Okay, don't answer, Champagne.
No, I'm not going to answer.
And I don't want any of your callers, and I don't want any of our callers to try to answer. All I want to say is, when you see some people that are well-dressed and pretending to be Mr. This or Miss that or Mrs. This, right? Think.
I know okay? Our people could be very loud, very disrespectful, very indisciplined sometimes, some of our people. And where you going with this? We're not even going to indulge in that. So let me go into...
Yeah, on a more jovial note, first of all, let me support Mr. Josie on extending his condolences to Mr. Charles Cade, who was a very good friend of mine, because my mother was extremely friendly with his mother. They lived opposite our home in Castries, and at least twice to 3 times a week my mother would go over to the house because they were very friendly.
Yeah.
And as a result, we knew their children. So may he rest in peace.
Okay.
But on another jovial note, have you heard this morning that Dr. Leon, a St. Lucian, has been chosen as the president of the Caribbean Development Bank?
Oh, I've not heard that.
Yeah? Okay.
Wow.
Let me say something, St. Lucia. This gentleman, Dr. Leon, will be the next president of the CDB. Just give you a little rundown, because I think it's well worth it to understand. The Board of Governors of the Caribbean Development Bank has elected Dr. Hignas Jean Leon to serve as the next president of the multilateral institution. Dr. Leon's appointment will become effective on May 1. He will succeed Dr. Warren Smith, who has been at the helm for the regional financial institution. Listen to that carefully, St. Lucia. Dr. Leon has over 30 years of experience in economic development and has directed macroeconomic and financial policy support to government authorities in Africa, the Middle East and Central Asia and the Caribbean. He has worked with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, for more than 24 years, serving as mission chief for the Gulf of States for Oman, Qatar and United Arab States, as well as the Bahamas, Nigeria and Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. He also served as the IMF's senior resident representative in Jamaica. Prior to his engagement with the IMF, Dr. Leon was an associate professor of State University of New York at Old Westbury in the United States. He has also served as director of research at the Central Bank of Barbados and country economist at CDB.
Wow.
Dr. Leon holds a Doctor of Philosophy, PhD in Economics from the University of Southampton in the United Kingdom, and a Bachelor of Science degree, BSc in Economics from the University of London, also in the UK. Commenting on his appointment, Dr. Leon said, "I am deeply honored by the trust that the Board of Governors has demonstrated in my experience and ability. The CDB remains an instrumental partner in regional development. I look forward to working with all member states and a tremendous staff with zeal and unrelenting commitment." So,
wow. What a resume.
That's a St. Lucian. Okay.
What a resume.
So,
brilliant
you know, all what we say in life, there are still some very wonderful people.
Yeah.
And many St. Lucians have made us very, very proud abroad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I did cut you short.
Yeah, so we want to go down to, we want to talk about a little bit about the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And all of us know what transpired with the inception of the coronavirus. I think when the news came about last year in the United States, China, and everywhere else, but we really started to feel the effects of the virus sometime in March of 2020. And the Prime Minister at the time made every provision at that time. I remember that cruise ship that was coming in at that time called Ada, and that was turned away. So the provisions or the preparations were being made by the Prime Minister, the CMO, and all the health professionals. The Prime Minister has addressed the coronavirus in a proper way, in my own observation or my own opinion. The SLP, on the other hand, has never, in my mind, come on board. They have never got involved. They have never participated
meaningfully
with what is going on in this country.
Very correct.
Now, I'm going to make a long story short. Last night I was watching the news and I saw the PRO, a lady by the name of Mundy, I don't know the last name, and they were making suggestions or dictating what the government should do regarding the coronavirus. And they even strategically had 3 points that they wanted to present to the government. What would you say to these people for not participating from inception with the coronavirus? When the NIMAC meetings, you know, the opposition leader never attended, not once. I don't know for now if he have attended one, but from the early stages, he did not attend. He sent all kinds of people. And today, these people would like to give suggestions, make demands on where the government should go regarding the coronavirus. What would you say to St. Lucia regarding this?
Something to you. I listened to Peter Josie a while ago. He knows all about the Labour Party because he was in that party. Okay, and everything he said, he's right on target. This is a party that concentrates more on getting into power than governing.
Yes, sir.
That is the problem.
That is it.
Everything this administration has done, they have opposed. But referring to what you said, all the protocols that have been put in place, they have muffled it, tried to bring it down.
Yeah.
They have never supported the government in what they're doing.
Never.
Okay? They went as far as saying there was no COVID in St. Lucia.
They had the banner.
Remember that, Bambi?
There was the banner with their march.
Yeah. Right?
Where the spread, in my mind, originated from.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you heard the Prime Minister and the CMO literally begging those people, wear a mask, social distance. When I came in, you were talking about alcohol. We have so many alcoholics on the island now. It isn't funny. This is a serious problem, Champagne. A serious problem. You know, you look at it again regarding the schools. There was no bad intention about opening the schools. Children have to be educated.
That is right.
You know what I discovered this morning? There were a number of children that were fortunate enough to actually compensate teachers to come to their home to teach their children. That is the people who can afford it.
Yeah.
What about those who could not afford it? Okay? They'll be left behind. And this is so unfair. So the government had to take the decision to come forward and open the schools. Okay.
But why now the SLP? I want to stay there a little bit. Why now, after March 9 and now, why after 10 months, your participation, your desperate involvement in trying to assist the government regarding the coronavirus, when in the initial stages you said nothing, you did nothing, you criticized everything?
Lack of foresight, Champagne. Lack of foresight and political expediency.
Yeah.
Lack of foresight and political expediency is the cause of what has happened today, right? And you know, for instance, they talk about St. Lucia is the worst.
Yeah.
Look at me. You have, let us take St. Lucia and St. Vincent as two countries. St. Lucia is more like an international country today.
In comparison to?
Because of the number of flights and the people. You work at the airport. There's as much as 18 flights a day.
Yeah.
Don't you see all those small planes coming from St.
From
Vincent?
St. Vincent.
You're using St. Lucia as a hub.
Yeah.
So the influence of foreigners is far greater here. Similarly, that's why in the United States, the numbers are much higher than St. Lucia because of the international aura or atmosphere of what is going on. So, having said that, I think St. Vincent, the cases actually...
Yeah, they have a surge at the moment.
Almost at par with St. Lucia.
They have
so, there's a virus. Whether we open our doors or not, campaign, eventually the virus will find its way. The big problem with that virus is community spread. They try to tell them so. You saw what happened 6 to 8 months ago. One person in the United States, I remember, infected 50 people.
Yeah.
So just imagine how at my opening, in my preamble, I mentioned in Barbados, over the Christmas season alone, some 600 cases were born. I have a lot of friends who just went to a party unknowingly, private party, one guy infected over 50 people, and what happened in Barbados was the police officers that do private work for wealthy people went back to the police station and infected the staff and the prisoners. So this is how it spreads, you know. But we must be more cautious. We have to understand no government can help you. You have to help yourself.
Yeah, self-responsibility. Brother Peter, I want to pose the same question to you, but in a different form. For me, the SLP should shut up when it comes to the coronavirus. No one in the SLP should say a word about the coronavirus because of what they did when this thing broke out in St. Lucia in March last year.
Yeah, and
not say a word.
And don't forget, Champagne, that the guy in Denver North, what's his name?
Yeah, Sean.
Huh?
Sean. Yeah.
Sean said clearly the perfect steps that were being taken. He supported 100%. Okay?
Yeah.
And St. Lucians must not forget that when the Prime Minister tried to put certain regulations in place, when the curfew ended, they were playing games and they had their march when they had 1 day of opening at all.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying the march alone, but it precipitated
That's what it did, in a huge way.
Because if one person can infect 40, you can imagine a march with, they said they had 2,000 people, conservative, they even said it was going to be 5,000, but put it at 2,000, okay? And they have to take a responsibility, because in the early stages, we did not take care of ourselves, and they kept on fighting the government from every
I believe that Sean got an insight on in-house flacking after he made those statements, saying that thing was in place, because you saw immediately after that there was a complete turnaround.
Yeah.
There was no support from the opposition in regards to the coronavirus. No support at all. Up until now, no support. So I believe he got an insight on in-house flacking for making those statements.
Somebody mentioned some time ago, I'm not going to mention the name, a particular journalist, and said that nothing the Labour Party would love more than to see that kind of thing take place, to be able to affect the government.
Oh, of course.
You see, and this is so sad.
But it's also so obvious. It is so obvious that is what the Labour Party wants. The Labour Party would not mind everybody being affected. It's the same thing like our friend who is leaving the presidency today, the White House. Once it is not them. And Champagne, let me go back to something you asked about the young people being used by the SLP. That is how they have always been. The other day, someone made a statement. The police, who is with the Prime Minister and the CMO, what's his name? He's just been promoted to Deputy Commissioner. He made a statement about young people being out on the streets. That has been going on for years. Now it's even more crucial to get these young people to go home straight after school. There's a young guy who came with a bow tie, fair-skinned guy. In fact, it looks like a smaller version of young Hunt. He have his bow tie. And trying to say that, you know, the police and the authorities, as if they want to clamp down on the children, The children probably has lessons to go to, etc. There is actually no need for that because he knows, and the people who put him there, the seniors, know what he should have said was, listen, guys, we are all young people. We know some of us have to go to lessons. Some of us, the parents are not home. But I think the police was right. I think we should try to get our young people home as soon as possible because in this present environment of COVID-19, we are all at risk. If this young fellow with a bow tie, and they always criticizing Williams, trying to papi show him, bow tie man, saying all kind of things.
Well, I'm wearing my bow tie.
Say all kind of things about him.
Yeah.
But guess what? There's a young fella they're trying to groom, right? He has a bow tie. And something else. There's a point I want to make, and because I might forget, I wanted to make it the last time. In all of those things that the Labour Party is speaking, they know very well what they're trying to do. And there's an unspoken word, and as Sir Michael said, I was in the bosom of the beast, so I know the beast. I know it.
And you're saying the beast has not changed over the years?
The beast is getting worse, but guess what? I have the antitoxin for the beast.
Okay.
I have the vaccine for the beast.
Yeah, the antidote.
Yeah, the antidote. But guess what? The beast knows that the people of St. Lucia prefer a little cooler why. St. Lucians don't like people that are too black unless it's their own family. Sometimes the people who have children that are black is born, their own child, But
that's not a good mindset, though.
It's not, but guess what? It is the cultural reality in St. Lucia. Mm-hmm. So why do you think Healy has been up front all the time and not Pip? The little cooler Healy has. He's aware of it. All of the supporters know. They don't have Kenny Anthony anymore. I don't think Kenny Anthony wants to come back there. And I don't think the people of Beaufort might even vote for him.
No, they won't.
If we get a good candidate down there.
They won't.
So you see the dilemma the Labour Party faces. They don't like Alan Chastanet. He's too white, his family is this and that and that. All sorts of criticism. And yet, there is jealousy of wanting to pick somebody who is just like Alan Chastanet. You see the dilemma the Labour Party faces? Mm-hmm. But they are not intelligent enough, even with all their university degrees, to sit down and try to rationalize this and say, listen, this is what we ought to do if we have to behave ourselves properly. The police is neutral, ought to be. They have supported us. They have voted for us at some time. We have worked with the police. When the police gives an instruction and advises young children to get off the streets, parents, get your children home after school. How can you put a little fella, a little bow tie looking very officious, to say that, they're trying to pressure the children, That boy should have come out with his little bow tie. I have nothing against the bow tie. And supported the police. Mm-hmm. He would have been a departure and people would take him seriously. And you know what? Next thing people would be saying, you see that boy? He has a future.
Yeah.
He has as it is now, this is just another mouthpiece. The young woman, you say you don't know her second name. This is another young person. I would even go as far as to say that she's been abused.
Yeah.
And I would stop there because I know her.
Let me ask you.
I know her. And I'm not prepared to go further than that. I think she's being used and abused by the St. Lucia Labour Party.
The Labour Party always seem to take things that they have gotten involved with in wrong things. And when I say wrong things, I could even classify it regarding the coronavirus. We know all what has been said from them, their lack of participation. But today, they seem to be turning it around on the government, and they are very, very good on doing that. Why do they always do that? They take things away from them, and they put it...
But we must point these things out, Champagne, and that is the beauty of what we are doing now. Mm-hmm. We have now the opportunity to say to the people who are listening to us, you remember when the coronavirus first started?
Yeah.
How the Labour Party was pretending that there was nothing.
That's right.
Some of them were even criticizing the CMO.
Yes.
What reason would a CMO have? Only lately, I realized maybe this is coming because they think, maybe some of them still think, that the CMO should be a Labour supporter. Mm-hmm. And maybe she should be saying things that would bend the thing to make the Labour Party look good. But this is a professional woman. You may have given her a scholarship when she was a young girl, just left convent, okay? Just left Sir Arthur Lewis. She's a professional. Respect that. How can you, who don't know anything about medicine or anything else, criticize the CMO and say, this is not true, we don't have virus? Some of the most ignorant things I've heard. And you know, there's still people on the streets that they're interviewing. They don't know anything, but the guy still has a microphone and will not say, sweetheart or miss, ma'am, that is not true. There is coronavirus. You may not believe it, but that is what a good reporter should do. There is coronavirus. But you know what was nice? She was wearing a mask. The person who said that I was watching her street drives, she was wearing a mask, but she don't believe.
But is it a lack of shame, Brother Josie, for them to take things that they have been encountered with and turn it around and put it on the UWP?
Of course, a person with pride would not do that. First, you would apologize. You say, guys, I gave you wrong information. That is how the people who grew up in my age group, not everybody, I must admit, but when you made a mistake, you had to own up to it, apologize if you must, and move on. If you do not do that, Champagne, that mistake stays with you. It even changes the character of the person you are. It changes inside of you. You get angry. Your personality begins to change because you have something operating in your mind. You know it's wrong, but you cannot admit to it. And that is happening too often in St. Lucia. Too often.
So, Michael, and we are not Nostradamus. We can't predict the future.
Sorry, come again?
We are not Nostradamus. We cannot predict the future. In another sense, our own local Creole term, nupa gade. We are not gades. But do you see, in your own mind, from your own observation, do you see the St. Lucian public getting up from their beds on election morning and literally going out there in the numbers to vote for the SLP after this 4.5 years of all criticism?
You know,
it is, all the election politics is a strange thing. We have seen stranger things happen.
True.
But I cannot envision it. Can you?
Yeah, you know, Champagne, in the last 10 days, I've listened more and more to St. Lucians come up. Never in all my years in St. Lucia, I don't know whether it's because of your station, you've made people more aware, but I find more and more people are coming out and voices their opinion and understand the direction the country is going.
Yes, they are.
You know, I mean, I listened last night again to somebody who called in the Norbert Show and said that 420 women were working in one part. And I think what has to be done, like Honorable Guy Joseph started it, where he had
highlighting all of the different.
Highlighted. This is a very important. Because even me, as an individual who's a little more intrusive than many St. Lucians, I took a drive only for the first time through the Corinth.
The Rosalie constituency.
And La Bonne places. And roads that were never there before.
That's for sure.
I mean, Babano is almost like Rodney Bay now. It's beautiful.
It is.
I mean, I could not believe my eyes when I went there 2 weeks ago.
It is.
So these are the things that St. Lucia has to understand. And these are the areas that have been neglected. The poor areas, you know, when body has, I mean, take the road, for instance, the one they did down to Cassenbar. I used to go to Cassenbar 20 years ago to the $5 beach. And it was hurtful just to drive there to go to the beach. Far as somebody having to go there every day to their home. I mean, what a difference that has made. It shows that there's a government that cares. The government has been focused, you know. I mean, and the people of the ministry will tell you, the infrastructure. This is the first time in 30 years that any meaningful financing has been available to them to do what they're doing. All because of the vision of the Prime Minister to implement that $1.50 tax, which he was criticized for. But that's a man with a vision to understand where the country needs to go. You can't do everything one time. You have to have the roads. Because car parts are expensive.
And Sir Michael and Champagne, I am not embarrassed, although I am almost embarrassed to say that last Friday I actually lost my way in Carolee Gardens, Simpson Kings constituency.
That area is very confusing.
The roads are not particularly new as such, but it's a whole new city up there.
Yeah, it's a confusing area.
The only thing I have to say is we must get some better road signs, because the more roads
they are being made. They are being made.
Yeah, but
I know that for a fact.
Up at Carolee, for example, the old signs with the green background and things. So we have to get better signs, better paint and everything, you know. But I'm telling you something, I never realized there were so many roads and houses. I said, boy, I had to use my brain to...
The Prime Minister last Sunday, with the address to the nation regarding the coronavirus, CMO, the Deputy Police Commissioner was there, and everybody else was there, the PS for tourism and everybody else. And he had a brilliant address. But the Labour Party took 2 lines, well, not even 2 lines, maybe 3 or 4 words, when he made the statement
from the Prime
Minister's address, when he said life and livelihoods. And they made a big fiasco out of that. This Prime Minister has taken this coronavirus with a force from inception. The public servants, when he had asked them to take the deferment, everybody disregarded that. And I know it was not all of the public servants. I know it was from the operatives, and we know the members of the Civil Service Association is, the union, and I'm not ashamed to say that. They are all Labour Party supporters. And we all know that. This has been going on for 30, 40 years maybe now. And this, if there was supposed to be a vote on whether or not they should take that deferment, I believe that the members would vote in favor of the deferment based on the way it was arranged. But that's for another story. But the Labour Party took just those few words about life and livelihoods and made a whole mess with it. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Again, Champagne, if I want to support the Labour Party, that's politics.
Yeah.
That's politics. Pure politics. You think anybody in St. Lucia, other than the gentleman who put out this tape, and why do you think they put out the tape? Only to enhance what they said earlier, because people were not listening to them.
Right.
So they had to find another avenue to push it through the media.
Yes.
But people are not stupid, Champagne.
No.
You're going to look at a Prime Minister like Alan Chastanet tomorrow and figure that he has no regard for people.
Can you believe it?
I mean, somebody called in again. When individuals in the high-up society and otherwise who have to travel, for instance, to Martinique, right? The guy has left his meeting to go down to ensure that everything went well.
That's the man.
Right? That is the guy that
is
you're
what
talking
he's
about.
about. Yeah.
But that is what they know. So they have to discriminate against him as much as they can to erase that value.
It is a form of desperation. It is a form of desperation on the part of the Labour Party.
What you have to continue to remind your listeners, whether it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or whatever day you're here, is that you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
because there's no way these 2 lines that the Prime Minister, and you heard in the other gentleman, Mr. Springer, stating all kinds of derogatory names and nonsense. Just those 2 lines or few words, as opposed to an entire speech. And they took just those 2 words and thinking or hoping that is going to do something negatively towards the Prime Minister. I mean, come on.
In any good school, secondary school, if you're doing English language or logics or anything like that, your teacher will tell you that is not something you do. That does not capture the essence of what the person said or read. If you're being asked to summarize a passage that you just read in an English language class, the teacher will look at your work clearly and see whether you have done the work properly or not. In a secondary school, a good secondary school, a good teacher, even though you're not at a secondary school and you're a bright student in a primary school and you're old enough, the teacher will teach you that you cannot extract 1 or 2 lines. You have to capture the essence of everything that you have read. That is what makes sense, and you must understand it to do that. So when you do the opposite, you're either ignorant or you're doing it deliberately. In the case of the St. Lucia Labour Party, let us face it, they are not ignorant. They are doing it deliberately because they're trying to fool the people of St. Lucia. And the reason they are trying to fool the people of St. Lucia is because they're trying to con the people into voting for them when the time comes. You cannot do that to people that you love. And if you don't love them, you cannot represent them. That is the Labour Party's problem. They have no love. So when they get into office, they don't know how to maneuver. All they want to do is to get into power, get hold of the national treasury, and begin to help themselves, their pockets, all kind of contracts, their women, their wives, their friends, their jabal. That is why they want to get there. And I'll tell you something, by the grace of God, my only thing now for the UWP, the only demand I make of the UWP now, and I call it a demand deliberately, please get the people of Beaufort South a good, credible candidate, man or woman, a solid Beaufortian who is not afraid to stand up and tell it as it is.
Sunday's a runoff.
Yes, Sunday.
There's a runoff on Sunday?
Yes.
You guys are keeping me in the dark. I didn't know that.
I was going to mention that a little later.
But Michael, so Michael, you have to take me down there.
Yeah.
We have to go down. Who are the... that's
we will talk about that, Brother Peter, in a little bit.
You guys are keeping me in the dark, but I don't like that.
You made mention of the Labour Party, the desperation for getting in to take the national funds or the treasury.
The treasury.
And that's to squander it with this one, that.
I didn't use the word squander. Well, they want to put it in their pockets.
Well. But here's what they don't have. They don't have the ability to put money into those funds.
But that's precisely why they can't govern.
Okay.
Why you think Norbert has played this so often? The country reached a stage where it couldn't borrow. Embarrassing. Can you believe that?
They don't have the ability.
And they never told us so, They never told us so. And they try to campaign. This election is not about the Labour Party. It's going to be against the Chastanet versus the Labour Party. That's such utter nonsense coming from a guy with a PhD, a guy who is supposed to have some intelligence. So the next elections will be what about? The next elections will be about the people who wanted us to die from coronavirus because they tell us that
you want to know what the next election is about? It's on The Voice this morning. Musa wants election bells rang. And his reason is because of the spike in COVID.
Can you believe
that? He wants elections, okay? I want Mr. Musa to know one thing. The government is there for 5 years. We in this station, Champagne, Brother Josie and myself, are not in a position to make any suggestions to anybody. But we are free to say what we have to say. And we have said repeatedly, elections will be or should be October 2021.
That's what we said. It should be. That was our own opinion.
I said the end of September.
And that was our opinions. That was our own opinion.
That's just our opinion. Okay? That is his opinion.
That is right. But where is the relevance between Corona and ringing a bell? Where is that coming from? I mean, I'm trying to get...
He wants people to vote before they die.
I read that to you all is very simple. You asked me a question a while ago. Why are they capitalizing on the coronavirus situation to find a reason to insist that elections be called? There is no part in the law that said an election has to be called if there's a pandemic. The Prime Minister of St. Lucia didn't create a pandemic. A pandemic is there and is being addressed, okay? But they are using all these gimmicks.
I have been around politics for a little bit, and I have never seen a representative who is almost none and void as this guy.
Correct. Yes.
He wants the people to vote for him. He thinks
seriously
before they die, because they themselves are the ones trying to send the people in harm's way with the coronavirus. Can you believe that?
This guy made a statement, and from that time, my conclusions was really spot on. When he made the statement in the House of Parliament, he said Beaufort Beach should not be developed. It should be reserved so his grandchildren and himself could go and run after Zagaya and Tululu. But in 2020.
We have an area left for him so he can go and catch his Tululu and Zagaya when he's finished. I will make sure that happens because I don't want to leave him
out of the dark.
We will give him an area.
Let us look
Tell you something, Champagne. There's a place called Bakafai. You ever heard of Bakafai? That's where we'll send him to get the Tululu and Zagaya.
We have to look at this thing very seriously, Brother Peter. You're saying to me in 2020 we have a small country who's trying to develop, we're trying to move forward, we're trying to build a new country, a new St. Lucia, and you have a representative, someone who's representing the people. He's saying no, let us not do that, let us not develop the people of my constituency or my surrounding constituency. Let us reserve the properties to run after Tululu and Zagaya.
Let me ask you a question.
Would you believe that?
Let me ask you a question. Why should such utter rubbish make its way to the front page of The Voice or any newspaper?
Is that the front page, Mr. Michael, or on the back page? It's on the front page?
Mm-hmm. No, you see, I'm just telling you and telling your listeners how my mind works. Okay? So we can criticize this guy as much as we want with his Zagaya and all this nonsense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to be perceptive enough to ask, how did this guy, that story reach on the front page of The Voice?
Yeah.
Of what moment is this information to the people of St. Lucia who are still concerned about sending their children to school?
Yeah.
The schools have just been closed for a little while.
Another week.
About survival. All you're interested in is elections.
Yes, sir.
You're not concerned. Again, no
point.
love.
I give you the bell on that.
You are not concerned about anything. The health of the children you pretend to love. The health of the young people that you're trying to inveigle into joining the Labour Party to talk nonsense on behalf of the party. Whilst the government is struggling, bringing people together to see how we can overcome this until we get a vaccine, all you want is elections.
Elections.
All you learned is elections. Well, you know what? I hope to God the people of St. Lucia give them one slap in the face
and
this time.
They will.
So, Michael, please come and meet me on Sunday. I want to see what's going on in Beaufort.
I promise you. Yeah.
Okay?
Although you don't pay your bills, but I'll still take you down.
What bill is
Which
that?
bills I owe you?
Is fuel bill?
Huh?
Is gas bill?
Yeah.
There's a guy who say I owe Sir John. You know, you have to be careful when you make that kind of joke.
He told me all about it.
Oh my God!
Now we're coming back to the coronavirus. This morning I realized we've stayed on it for a little while, and there was a Creole program, and I could mention the guy's name. He's my friend Jugwa.
Yeah.
And
Some
flood. One a doctor by the name of St. Rose was on his program sometime last week.
Right.
And I would have expected that, well, I don't know if he's a colleague of the CMO, but he's in the same profession. And he was downright criticizing the CMO, even calling her a liar along with the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
The information...
Dr. St. Rose.
Which St. Rose?
Well, the guy that wants to run for Roselle.
Oh, because
they are more than one.
I know two Dr. St. Roses.
I mean, you're not the CMO, but you're in the same profession with the CMO. You're a doctor, medical doctor. The CMO is as well, but she's the CMO. And you now would come on national radio as one of your, well, I don't know if she's his friend, to state that the CMO, the information that's been given are lies, along with the Prime Minister. Is that what politics does, Brother Peter?
And it's so sad because he already has been manhandled by the Labour Party, but still moving in the same direction and looking for support. It's all politics, champion.
But it's
but this is sad.
No, it's more than...
While we're talking here, I just got a text.
Yes.
I'm saying that the rum shop, all bars will be closed.
Oh yeah, that's from yesterday.
I think. And also, I'm also seeing here that there'll be a partial lockdown for 7 days as of Friday this week. That a partial lockdown in St. Lucia. Yeah, a lockdown of the economy for 7 days. Okay. To try to stem what is going on. And also, I see another text that just came in here, Champagne. He says, "I'm happy that you all focused on the topic of the gentleman who criticizes the Prime Minister. Let me tell you something in Creole. Goge extraordinaire."
Goge extraordinaire.
What does that mean, Champagne?
That's someone that drinks heavily all the time.
Yeah, so that's what the person has just texted me.
Well, I didn't want to go down that road, but the individual person probably knows something about it.
But
let me go down. I want to talk to you.
About Dr.
Yes, that's where I want to go with you, yes.
Yeah, I can't say I know Dr. St. Rose personally, the one from Roselle. I know Peter St. Rose, and my good friend, the other one, the younger brother. You know the Central.
Yeah. But it's not that Central.
No, the one from Switzerland, I can't say I know well. But you know something? I think it's a bit of arrogance that allows you as a doctor to feel that you're so much superior to another doctor who probably has more experience than you, and to be critical of her in the same profession.
Yeah.
This is so unprofessional. Only a barefooted nigger would do that.
But is that what
I hate to
They're singing from the same hymn.
I hate to use that phrase.
Yes.
But it's a phrase that is real. When you see
some people don't want to hear that word, that N word used though.
But let me tell you something, it's up to them. I don't give a damn what they love and what they don't love.
Yeah.
The reality is that you can become a doctor and you are still a piece of trash. And I have read sufficiently, especially books on psychology and things like that. Some of the people, the profession that takes its own life the most is the medical profession, you know. There are a lot of half-crazy people, you know, I don't know if it's the study of medicine that send their brain off and they do all kind of nonsense. For a doctor to be so disrespectful of another doctor, it's unbecoming.
On a CMO at best.
And again, it brings me back to why I love politics. Politics will make you do all kind of nonsense if you are not careful. If you are not careful, politics will make you say and do all kind of nonsense.
Wow.
Especially if you are greedy and you want the treasury's money.
Yeah. Senator, our program is always a 2-hour program, and I did not even realize it was, the clock has been ticking on us. It is 18 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock. And if you'd like to call us to pose a question to our gentleman, 4560931 is our number.
That person was anticipating.
A beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, good morning.
Champagne.
Yes, sir, I'm there with you. Good morning.
I have told you over and over that one's level of educational attainment has absolutely no bearing on the political comments that they make.
Very true, very true.
I've told you so over and over, Champagne.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a businessman, Champagne, but I was just thinking, let us suppose that I have a store and that is being managed by somebody, and I walk into that store, say on the 15th of December, not December 2020, because it was an unusual December, a normal December, and I realized that my manager has stocked up some of the shelves which were being stored in the storeroom were brought out, and new goods and stuff were placed in there. Would I be pleased?
Of course you should.
Why should I be pleased?
Well, you're anticipating that you're going to be making some money throughout the season.
Champagne. I give you a good mark.
You think I should ring the bell for myself?
You mentioned, yes, ring a bell for yourself.
Okay.
You mentioned the word anticipate. Because your manager anticipated that there would be an increase in sales.
Right.
Right? And it is in the same manner that the CMO, judging the environment in St. Lucia and judging from the behavior of persons, she anticipated that there was likely to be an increase in cases.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You know what this means? That is the result of proper management and proper planning.
Yes, sir.
When you plan, you need to anticipate the possible consequences of the actions that you are likely to take.
And also call it the understanding of your job, what your job entails.
Exactly. So much so, and I'm sure Sir Michael would understand that, there are times that you might have options, 3-4 options, and the final option that you take is very likely as a result of how you anticipate what is likely to happen.
Very true, very true.
So I give the CMO high mark
Oh, yes.
for anticipating
Yes, sir.
the possibility of an increase.
Yes, definitely.
Let me take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Leon. I know them quite well, the family from Choiseul. He had a brother who worked in the Ministry of Finance, Calix Leon.
Yeah, I know Calix.
He also has a brother who is a medical doctor, Tremendous Leon. So I want to congratulate
Brilliant people, brilliant-minded
the
people.
family on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, caller. Have
Yes,
a good
caller,
one.
thank you.
4560931 is our number to call if you'd like to call us in to pose a question to our two gentlemen here. You know, we cannot stop talking about the CMO. The CMO has done such a great job.
Incredible. And she predicted all that.
Oh, my
she
goodness.
Kept on saying
She
so.
is a brilliant human being. Special good morning to you. Hello.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Mr. Campaign.
Yes, that's me.
How are you? Malai,
Oui.
Opicon.
Oui. No like Mr. Chastanet, Mr. Peter Josie.
Kwa mwen ka kouye pou mwen di Chastanet et puis Mr. Josie. Samuel Gon Kadi yo. Bonjour. On l'avantage la monnaie yo venu. Et Mr. Josie, boss là. Quand on change qui moun ki la comment?
Mon passage ça si pas
Mon poko ka we fija yo en sevel we.
Moi te ka doy tok jot yet. Moi te ka doy je fort.
Kote ou katwa bay?
Moi te isha yini.
il dit un choc zodia.
Oh. Comment non? Non même.
Samuel Hon.
Ok. According à changer non ça ou ça. Koka wete actuellement?
Ma wete Opicon moi.
Ok, koka ye dimanche si Dieu veut.
Ouais, mais ça même bien marché actuellement. Moi, ETS, en 1er décembre.
Ou ça un jeune garçon, toujours garçon, ETS. ETS.
79 pour ETS, ma rende dessous. Moi, viens travailler by police pour une journée. Là, moi, viens travailler dans l'histoire. Je dis pas, je n'en ai l'autre chauffeur. Moi, regarde pour manger. Bah, je couille moi. Tout là, je suis flambeau. Je suis flambeau, je suis flambeau à manger.
Qui laisse yo qui fait ça?
C'est pas, on sait que les sacs de travail manger pas privé.
Non mais c'est où qu'a parlé ben nous qui laisse yo, ou ni pour dire qui moun qui yo.
Oui, sir.
C'est pas un débat yo fait moi. Là moi là nous on a check pour la moi. Pour le temps mon travail là. Il faut me comprendre l'autre. Parti yo qui en parle, gouvernement qui en parle encore il pas été de gouvernement.
C'est moun sa pas ni bon chèque là, c'est ça a dit depuis bon matin moi sous besoin faire love, c'est moun sa pas ni amitié pour pièce moun. Yo pas même ni amitié pour moun qui ka supporter yo, juger ouais moun qui pas ka supporter yo. Si moi ça jouer nous dimanche si Dieu veut nous ka parler yo ça. Nous garder comment nous c'est de.
OK, brother Samuel, dimanche garder pour Mr. Josie yo ka venir koto.
Yes.
All right, partner. Beautiful.
Okay, I want to say something very quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't want to forget. On Monday this week, the world, and America in particular, celebrated the birthday of Martin Luther King.
Hold on a minute, caller.
Monday the 18th, right? One of the last...
Hold on 1 minute. Hold on 1 minute, caller.
One of the last statements Martin Luther King made, or one of the moving statements he made, was that beauty, love, and justice are the three virtues we need to travel with all times and at all times. And he said, if you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. But keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Keep moving forward. In other words, we in the Caribbean would say forward ever, backward never. And these words I want to dedicate to all the people of St. Lucia, including the 80-year-old who just called. If you cannot walk, if you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. But keep moving forward. And in the Caribbean would say, forward ever, backward never. We're not going back. We're going forward.
Thanks for holding, caller. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen.
Sorry to have taken your time, caller.
That's okay, PJ.
Okay.
Before I go on to the substantive matter I want to talk about, let me just add to what you've just said.
Thank you.
If you're going through hell, don't stop.
Go forward.
Keep moving.
Keep moving.
If you're going through
heard
hell,
his question?
don't stop.
He asked you if you're going to hell.
Keep moving. You know why you must keep moving? Because there's a force and a spirit greater than hell, greater than anything else.
Yes.
Okay?
So,
and you have to keep believing.
Yes. I wanted to just congratulate Dr. Leo.
Okay.
And
he was part of faculty at my alma mater when I attended between 1975 and 1978.
Okay.
And always a very studious person. He was head of the cadet corps. I wasn't a cadet, but
which school was your alma mater?
Beaufort Senior Secondary.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I don't know if you remember that he was also one of the final 2 candidates who were being considered for the post of Governor General of the ECCB.
Oh.
And
I don't remember him, you know. I know the brother quite well. I know Calix and his family, but I don't remember that one.
Yeah, very, very, very bright people, man. Calix must be commended for the work he did.
Oh, but that's obvious. That's
had
obvious.
it not been for him, I suppose a lot of people would have been crying.
Some people are born with brains, you know. I remember there was a master teaching at St. Mary's College who used to say, he used to teach science, and he used to say that people with the best brains, their brains are more convoluted. The more twists and turns and things your brain has, the better, because if you stretch it out, it has a longer possibility of remembering things. But if the brain is smooth, it might be looking nice, but it doesn't hold as much information.
You have a question, caller, for my 2 gentlemen?
I don't have a question.
No, he just called to congratulate.
Okay. All right.
I must also tell you that Calix himself is a brilliant mathematician, you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
but Calix worked with government for a very long time, and after that, did he work elsewhere?
No, his last job was at he was director of the Financial Services Regulatory Authority.
Right. Where does he work now? Where is he now?
I think he's retired now. He's just retired.
Okay, all right.
All right, caller, thanks a lot, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Have a beautiful day.
Caller, just before you go, you know what I was about to say when Sir Michael read it. This is a guy who has followed in the footsteps of Sir Arthur Lewis. This is the kind of brilliant St. Lucians, you know, that we know that we have.
Yeah, we want to go back to the CMO because apparently our program is focused today on the coronavirus. Let's disregard the Labour Party for today.
Sure.
If it comes up, it does.
Yeah.
But the CMO, this lady, I didn't know her before. I never knew her
before
until the coronavirus came about.
St. Lucia is blessed to have a woman.
Oh my goodness! And she have kept her composure every time I see her on TV. The demeanor. This is a strong individual.
Yeah.
And when you hear people of her own kind, when I say her own kind, I mean her own profession, criticizing her in that manner.
It's very sad.
That is the saddest day in the health.
But Dr. Santos will pay the price for that.
I believe he should.
And you know something? I didn't know if the Labour Party made the right decision, just as an outsider, an observer, a St. Lucian, who is interested in politics, even though I am not personally involved as I used to be.
Yeah.
But when the party made the decision to have another lady, who I think has a PhD, as their candidate for Choiseul, I said, wow. I thought all the noises that Dr. St. Rose used to make in St. Jude against the government, this government, that would have earned him a place in the Labour Party lineup of candidates. But I have to say now, congratulations to the Labour Party that Dr. Centros is not a candidate, because that would have put them down.
We could have seen it. They're down anyway. Special good morning to you. Hello.
Special good morning to you too.
Yes, George Cooper. How are you?
I'm good for now, by the grace of God. Good morning, Mr. Josie. Good morning, Mr. Michael.
Champagne is very good at the voices, man. George
these are my regular people.
You are a regular. Okay.
The most popular regular.
That's right.
Okay.
Brother Josie, I get rid of the coal pit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
After the police came and extinguished the coal pit, next day he came and he said, Mamele Pisazogdi. L'élection finie avec les bagages. N'allez quatre push up.
Yeah, but that is
the Centros guy. His name is Alfonso.
Yeah, Alfonso. But the guy with the coal pit who said that, is not a nice person. That's a guy you have to stay away from. He's not a good person. This guy has actually, I suspect, committed some crime. And that curse is with him.
But take the sense of the statement.
You hear what I just said?
Let's take the sense of the statement. This gentleman is a Labour Party supporter because he's saying when his government wins, he's going to come back now
and put
something that is illegal.
He's going
to light 4 coal pits to affect the community.
Yeah.
So you see the mindset of the Labour Party supporters.
Yeah.
You see what they're about.
Only a Labour Party supporter would say that.
Only.
This is evil. I tell you.
Can you believe it?
A person with love could never say that.
Can you believe it?
No.
Can you believe it?
There are people like that in St. Lucia, and you know what? You see this stage of my life, I keep repeating and referring to the age I am. I could look at these people, their demeanor, observe them, not look at them and let them see I'm looking at them. I could observe them, Champagne, and know there is nothing good.
No.
Only evil these people have in them.
Just
Sometimes I don't know them at all. I've never met them. But you can see the demeanor on their face.
You wanted to say something else?
No, I was just listening.
All right, darling. Thanks a lot.
Here.
So your coal pit is out and everything is good?
5 police officers come to you, each of them give you a warning, and you still say enough?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Judge Cooper. You know, and when you see people in the middle, at the center of the virus, holding a banner that states St. Lucia has no COVID-19, those people that were carrying that banner should have been ashamed. Yeah. Up until today. A beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Champagne, I do not know why persons support the Labour Party or even going to vote for them.
I don't know why myself.
When you listen to the Labour Party operatives and they talk, and they're telling you when they win, they're going to come for sandals.
They're getting that confidence from their leaders.
They're going to come for Massy stores.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you support that?
Can you believe it?
Who works at Massy stores?
Yeah, exactly.
Who works at sandals?
That's exactly what Mr. Peter is saying. The love.
Is ridiculous.
They have no love. They have no love.
What kind of mindset that is, I do not know.
They said they're going to shut down Sky FM instantly.
What is that?
Instantly.
Why?
Their first assignment is to shut down Sky FM.
That is ridiculous.
Can you believe it?
And something else I have a problem with, the way, the disrespect they have. That is so unbecoming. It is not nice. The names they give to the United Workers Party candidate.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
God, I thank God every day he took me out of that party, man. I thank God every day.
I was reading somewhere they're referring to Nancy Charles as a shack too.
That's right.
That is just not nice.
Yes. They're going to put a bomb under the chair of Honorable Guy Joseph and the Prime Minister in the House of Parliament. In the House of Parliament. These are the statements from their supporters.
Yes.
And what is more alarming, that is, Caller,
they're in support of it.
You took that right out of my mouth.
They're in support of it.
The hierarchies never condemns those statements.
Never.
Can you believe that?
So something is wrong with this party. They're not ready to govern.
No, Caller, there's no way that I would say something out of the way here on this radio station and the Honorable Prime Minister Alan Chastanet will not come out and condemn Champagne. It will never happen.
Caller, let me remind you, when the Labour Party got into office in 1997, one of the first things they did, I wasn't there, but Sarah Flood Broadbent said it, and I know it to be true. When these guys met in cabinet, that is when all the ministers are there together to discuss what you're going to do for the country.
Yeah.
All throughout Sir John's time in office, cabinet started with prayers. Mm-hmm. When Alan Louisi won, I was Minister of Agriculture, we started cabinet with prayers. As soon as these guys came in 97, all prayers stopped.
Can you believe this?
So, okay, whom are you dedicating your thoughts to? Exactly. Whom are you asking for divine guidance to do the best for your people?
Yeah.
Whom are you praying to? If not God, whom?
Well, they don't pray.
You laughing at that? Laugh.
And that's why you see the lady sent this note comparing.
And up to a day like today.
Yeah.
They throw all accusations of him.
Yeah.
Why when they're in power, he was never... You understand? They never took him to court and they won or anything like that.
Yeah,
why is it being continued?
They conducted an investigation that cost the taxpayers $3 million. Can you believe that?
What came out of
no reports?
These guys are not good. They have no love.
Yeah, there's no love.
And you know, the New Testament of Jesus Christ, that is something I believe, the person I believe in. I've been to Israel. I've been to the place where he is supposed to have been baptized. And I'll tell you something. One of the things that Jesus said that is never going to leave my mind, the greatest commandment of all is love.
Yes.
Love your children, love yourself, love your people,
Mr.
love
Josie,
your country,
it was God
love.
who gave us this win the last election.
What did you say? Sorry?
It was God who gave us this
All the
win.
time. God is the one in control.
But God is the one that is going to give it to us again. I'm telling you.
Caller, you would remember that we had a witch conference in St. Lucia.
Yes.
Never in the history of our country was a witch conference brought about. And we all know who brought it about. It was the wife of the former Prime Minister.
Yes, so it was
Brought about a witch conference. That we had never seen this before. How could there be any love when you have such a conference?
But Mr. Champagne, if you look, it is the Labour Party who has divided the country.
Every day.
When we have Dr. Anthony saying this election is Alan Chastanet against the Labour Party.
Yes, between the Chastanet.
Yes. Chastanet and the Labour Party.
Yes.
Alan and his father put together.
Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't the United Workers' Party against the Labour Party.
I wonder who they saying is between this time, caller. Maybe between the Labour Party and Champagne.
I never asked Sir Michael Chastanet what he did, Dr. Anthony. I know Alan didn't do him anything.
So it was like something personal was going on there.
But I don't know what Sir Michael did him. So Sir Michael is here right now. I know Sir Michael, when he got into office, Dr. Anthony got into office, one of the things I remember clearly, he gave 3 diplomatic passports. And I'm sure one of the persons he gave the diplomatic passport to made him like a roving ambassador. In other words, go. You are my man of business. Sir Michael, talk to me. Talk to me, Sir Michael. Talk to the people.
I'll talk to you at a later date.
All right, caller. All right, you have a beautiful day. Thanks a lot.
Sir Michael Pavle Pale Bomatria.
Well, just like you, Sir Michael probably regrets that he took that passport. A beautiful morning to you, hello.
Good morning, Champion. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good morning.
To Mr. Peter Josie and to Sir
Sir Michael. Good morning, my brother. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, how you doing? All the best for the new year, man.
Thank you. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the university.
Yes, we know where that is. That's by the BG Beach.
All right.
With a group of guys. How many guys are there today?
They have a good beat, you know.
All right, great. Go ahead.
They're enjoying the show as usual.
Yes, thank you.
But Champagne, you were talking about a former, I would call him a journalist, Mr. Springer, I think.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Man, those guys, reckless, man.
Very.
Because let me tell you something. My cousin worked very hard to achieve what he has in St. Lucia. He lives in Pennsylvania in the U.S. The guy has a house up in the Enfield area. I was the one doing all the lawn and stuff for him. And you see, when people come in there and trying to disrespect people and all kinds of things, let me tell the individual, his closet has a lot of skeleton, and he has to be careful how he attacking people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Caller, you think he's doing that on his own, or he's been pushed to do that?
Let me tell you, Peter was a Labour, and he never say he was never a true Labour supporter. But what Peter does not like is the nonsense, the attitude of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And I am telling you, I used to support George Odlum as a little boy and my entire family. And to tell you the truth, if George was there, he would not tolerate the nonsense that's going in the Labour Party.
Very true, caller. Very true. I like that statement.
And as we speak, when George was elected, when Kenny had the 16-1 mandate, let me tell you, it was George that did all the hard work in the Catholic League.
Yeah.
To see that the St. Lucia Labour Party was victorious. And
that's
as
true.
we speak, while Kenny Anthony was Prime Minister, you see, people don't forget a lot. George was a guy, time of Louis, and Peter could testify to that. That when the struggle between the Labour Party, that George Odlum was the one that made Michael Pilgrim the
interim Prime Minister, and Kenny Anthony, Minister for Education. Am I right, Peter?
Yes, I know you're right. Leo Clark had also gotten a pick on that team, the interim team, you remember?
Right. And let me tell you, the history of the Labour Party is there. And even when they got that 16-1 mandate, those guys never liked George Odlum. You understand? And if I have to go deep in depth,
please don't call her. We really don't want too much about the Labour Party.
It's a lot. That's making your whole show.
That is what I'm afraid of.
Let me ask you a quick question, caller. Why? Let me ask you a quick question. Why do you think they didn't like George?
Because he was genuine. He would not tolerate the nonsense that this new Labour Party, bring it to the table. And having that one, if I give you a scholarship and you come back and you don't support me, I will go after you. I will not.
I think, caller, they were intimidated by George. They were intimidated by George, and to some extent, that is what is happening to Alan Chastanet and these guys. They're intimidated by Alan because they realize Alan Chastanet is an international kind of person.
Right.
Wherever Alan Chastanet goes, he's known. He has the introduction by different governments, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, and maybe even his little kulai. This puts him in a position where he intimidates the Labour Party. And so there's a jealousy, there's a fear, all kind of things. Exactly what you saw happen to George. So I think you have a good point there.
Story about George Odlum.
All right, caller, I'll give you another minute. We want to take some more calls.
I listen the true Labour Party. It's important.
Yeah, but I'll give you another minute.
Let me tell you, when we got the 16-1 mandate, my cousin, which is Kenneth David John, I did help in order for them to get Kenneth in. Let me tell you, Kenneth always supported George. He joined the Labour Party through George Odlum. George had a lot of time for Kenneth David John. David John had a lot of time for Kenneth.
Caller, let me stop you a minute. Can you and I have a discussion on that gentleman that you're mentioning?
No problem. I could give you the whole history about the man.
Well, listen. Not on air. Take my number.
Let we end it there. We'll meet and I'll give you all the whole.
Yes, I'll give you his number.
But Champagne will give you my number.
Yes.
You will call me and Champagne will give you my number. Call me and we'll sit down, okay?
All right. Okay, thanks a lot, caller. I'll give Mr. Peter Josie. Okay. And we have sidetracked a little bit. And while some people are very supportive of Brother George did some stuff that was not one of the best things. Yeah. Because that plywood city initiated from Brother George. Yeah. So we have to
we had this negative because that's why the two of us went our separate ways.
Exactly. A special good morning to you. As far as I'm concerned,
that's water under the bridge.
That's right. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Champagne. Good morning, Sir Josie, and good morning, Sir Alan.
Sir Michael.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning.
I just love that Alan Chastanet.
So you keep making a mistake
between
the two
names. You love the Alan Chastanet name or the man himself?
Go ahead, caller.
Colin, I just think FM is a loving radio station.
Thank you.
And the people who call they are loving.
Yes.
But what I want is I want to see my elderly have a home. I want to see my elderly people taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are homes. Yes. And as a matter of fact, the biggest home for the elderly that was ever built in St. Lucia was the one that was built down there in VA4, the Comfort Bay, and that was built during the time of the UWP as well, when they came in 2006.
No, but we have some of them who doesn't even have a proper house to live.
That is true. That is true. That is something that has to be considered.
I need to see that happen.
Yes.
That's Mr. Ronald Eddie's friend.
Okay. All right. I understand. Yes. We will. Well, I've spoken to some people about Mr. Eddie, and we're looking into.
Where do you suggest the next home for the elderly should be built, caller?
No, I'm talking about. We have some elderly citizens in St. Lucia who has a house, but it's not a home.
Yeah, but he's asking you where would you like to see one being built?
Well, we have enough for now.
Oh, okay. Oh, but individuals,
Yes, that's what she
individuals
said.
with houses that are not up to
Yes.
standard should be assisted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
I
Colin. We
really
will.
need to see that happen.
Yes,
Please
yes.
help
We might have to have a program,
Yes.
Champagne,
Yes,
asking people
deliberate.
to call in. And
All right,
tell
Colin.
us.
Thanks a lot, darling.
Okay.
All right. You know, now that the lady has brought that up, you know, if you really go back in history, the Labour Party has not literally built any home for the elderly.
Literally not build anything.
Could you believe this? My goodness. Special good morning to you, hello.
No love,
Hello,
Champagne.
hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
To Champagne and
Thank
to your
you.
distinguished guest.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning, morning,
Yes,
morning.
I haven't heard much on the possible outcome of this general election that is knocking on our door.
Mm.
And I would hasten to think at this point in time that I think that UWP will win this election hands down. Because
I believe that too.
if you have to go on performance, and then recently, if you have to go on the amount of political stupidity that has come out of the mouths of a lot of the guys on the other side, I would say there are at least 3 to 4 guys who are going to lose their seat.
Yeah, on the Labour Party side.
On the Labour Party.
I believe that too.
I honestly, I really think if the people have listened intently
Yes.
to the rhetoric, to all the foolishness,
Yes.
to the non-contribution when it comes to the coronavirus, and the amount of things that have been said on the
Caller, if you don't mind, let me interject there. Let me ask you a question. How much attention did you believe, and give me a percentage on that? How much attention you believe that the general public is paying on the nonsense that have been said, the criticism that have been made throughout the last 1.5 years from the Labour Party? Give me a percentage.
Well, I can tell you, I have been listening, and I am not very impressed.
Right.
So you see, the thing about the radio, it's very difficult to gauge who is listening to radio.
Right.
That's why I'm not all for the government making too many announcements only on one radio station, or because you don't know who's listening. And
Well, let me inform you. Let me inform you. Sorry, we are now on TV, GDV TV, channel 115.
Yes,
and I could also say to you, myself and the Honorable Guy Joseph had a program here on Monday, and
Yes,
the viewers on Facebook was 6,000.
Oh,
and
well,
that is outside. That is outside television
but
and on
again,
radio.
Then again, that could be. They could have a lot of people from outside of St. Louis.
That is right. That is
so
right.
it's always a little dodgy. But
Right.
I'm honestly hoping that a vast majority is listening and is realizing what is going on with that party. And I could see at least 3 of them losing their seat, including the political leader.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. He has come to the end of his road.
If you have to go on performance, these guys are supposed to lose their seat.
So how much judgment you think some people are putting on performance and just being a loyalist?
That is the worrying thing. That is the worrying thing in St. Lucia. A lot of people seem to be supporting blindly. It is just about the party.
Just about party.
And nobody is looking at, St. Lucia.
Thank you
I
very much.
think that's inherently the problem I have.
Yeah.
Because to me, nobody should be supporting any party blindly.
I agree with you 100%.
Whether it's yellow, whether it's red.
Thank you very much.
We should have more allegiance to the country and where the country is going and which party at the time. Because at the end of the day, if St. Lucia is doing well, we are all going to be doing well.
Every day.
So why would you wish the red do bad or the yellow do bad? It doesn't make sense. Whoever is in office, the people have decided that these are the candidates worthy of running the country for the next 5 years, and you have to wish them success and give them the hand they need to make it a success. Because you'll be shooting yourself in the foot.
And that is what is
our
supposed to be
prayer
done.
must be that there will be a lot more people than like you in St. Lucia in the years ahead.
I sincerely hope so. Hope so.
All right, Colin. Thanks a lot, my friend. You have a great day. Yeah. So, Michael, how convincing must the UWP be throughout this next election? Let's take a call. We'll come back to that. A special good morning to you. Hello.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Champagne.
Good morning to you.
And good morning to Sir Michael Chastanet and Mr. Peter Josie.
Thank you so much. Good morning to you.
Program
Good morning.
is always a very informative program, interesting program.
Thank you.
For the people of our country, St. Lucia. And in answer to this caller who have just, not to Champagne, to you, Mr. Champagne, the caller took these words out of my mouth. He spoke about at least 3 SLP candidates will lose their seat. And I have this jotted down on my paper.
Right.
In answer to Champagne, I don't see St. Lucians going to the polls to give SLP 6 seats again.
Can you believe
but
it?
I see 17-0.
I've been pushing for that.
I see 17-0. And I would also like to say to the SLP, you are not in opposition for opposing sake. Because that's all we as St. Lucians have seen that the SLP are doing. There's nothing substantial. There is nothing. Go to your meetings and drop something for St. Lucians to be like, okay, they said this and they said that, and get St. Lucians interested. But you have not. This SLP party has not done that in 4. Well, they have not done that in years.
Yes,
and the most
indefinitely.
important years for us in our political history, those 4 years, going to 5 years soon, that the SLP has not done a thing. And my St. Lucian people, I know they are not willing to remain in the Malawi position anymore. St. Lucians are embracing. They're embracing the ability to get jobs and to do something for themselves. Not to be in a job for like 6 weeks and then, okay, I don't know where I'm getting food for my family. I don't know where I can't even go to the bank to get a loan with a step program. And we want to thank our UWP administration at the head, Mr. Alan Chastanet. And this man is being attacked. He's been attacked for doing a good job for my country. Everything that these people have done is to see our country rise. I would also like to add, when school are just reopened, we know that the SLP, they are criticizing everything. They're using the coronavirus, the spike, and they are the ones who caused the spike.
Yep.
They're the ones who caused the spike. People are afraid to say it. I know for
I'm not.
retribution.
I'm not.
And a lot of parents are so happy that the children went back to school. I don't have little children anymore. I spoke the same day school opened, not this Monday, the one before.
Yeah.
I met 5 parents, and I always love to do that. I met 5 parents, I don't know them. And I asked them, I questioned them, I said, Miss, are you happy that your children are back at school? And these parents were so elated. They said it was time for school to reopen. But then the SLP party uses just a small number of people who are supporting them. And they are the people they are using to undermine the government. St. Lucians, I pray that we would wake up and do what is right for the country.
These guys are so desperate. I know of a young man who is a member of the student committee, and even this young man is being used. I know that I'm not going to go into details, and even this young man is being used as talking about this, the reopening of schools.
Yeah, I want to say something to you.
It's very sad.
I want to say something to you, caller, too. I share what you said about parents are happy with schools being open for the children to go to school. And I know this because the majority of St. Lucians are not able to coach or train their children at home. So the parents, if they love their children, want their children to be at school. The second thing I want to say to you very quickly, I am a little sympathetic. I say a little, and I use the word sympathetic deliberately. It's very, very difficult for the Labour Party or any opponent of Alan Chastanet and this government to criticize them. What are you going to criticize? And that is why they must lie and make up stories. I have said truthfully on this program some months ago, during my time in Parliament, I had difficulty criticizing Louis George. Why? Because his Ministry of Education was always on target, building schools, doing the right thing. So if I had to criticize Louis, I had to make up stories. I couldn't criticize him on the work he's doing. And what an opposition is supposed to do if you are loyal and truthful and you love your country is to say, listen, what you are doing there is not right. It would have been better if you did this for the sake of the country. I could not have criticized Louis George. The Labour Party today has the same problem that I had
Yes.
with Lee George.
Yes, yes.
They have the same problem
I'll give you the bell on
with
that.
Alan Chastanet.
Yes, yes.
What
yes.
can you say? There's more work, more activity, more things. The country is moving forward
Yes, sir.
more than ever before.
And before I go,
Yeah.
I would like to say, this is first time in my political history that I have seen a Labour Party so arrogant.
Yeah, they're desperate.
So arrogant.
Yeah, they're desperate. The
I know.
desperation is.
In my political understanding, I believe that politics is supposed to be about the country and not about a party.
You know the reason for that, caller? You know the reason for that increase in arrogance? Dr. Healer and his PhD.
That's correct.
Wow.
A lot of their supporters like to say, oh, we have educated people in the SLP. And in the UWP people, they cannot talk.
Educated talkers.
The SLP people can talk.
Talk about what?
Dr. Juvali went to his head.
Yes.
All right, caller. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Okay, thank
Beautiful.
you.
Thank you very much.
You.
How convincing has the UWP have to be in this election? Let's come back to that. Beautiful morning to you. Hello. Turn down your radio, please, caller. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Oh, I understood some time ago when Kenny Antonio was in power. He could not pay civil servant. Michael Chastanet had to help him.
Well, he's there. Let him respond to that.
Goodness.
Let him respond to that. He's there. And I was waiting for that call.
Michael Chastanet, Butch Stewart, or Michael
Thank you, caller. I was waiting for that call from the time we started the show.
What did the caller say?
The caller said at one time when the former prime minister was in power, he was not able to pay his debt to the civil servants, the salaries, and you assisted. So you want to elaborate on that?
I'm not going to elaborate.
Okay. Beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Hi, good morning,
Sean. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to Sir Chastanet and Mr.
Morning, my brother. Morning.
All I want to know from Sir Chastanet is what is the update on St. Jude's? We didn't get anything this week.
Update on St. Jude. St. Jude Hospital.
St. Jude's.
What's the latest on St. Jude Hospital?
St. Jude is doing very well. My brother, let me say something to you. I was at St. Jude's this last weekend, Sunday. I got a full tour from the architect and the gentleman. St. Jude's right now, they are now finishing all the pipes, all the plumbing section. There was a slight hold-up or hiccup because PAHO, based on the pandemic situation, recommended that some further facilities be included to accommodate the spread of the virus in case there's another spread, since they're building a new hospital.
You mean to stop the spread? To
Sorry?
stop it?
No.
You said to accommodate. To stop it, you mean? The spread of the virus?
No. He's saying there's another section they want put in.
Yeah.
Or even to help people who are working.
There's another pandemic.
Yes, like a respiratory section.
So they said, don't make the mistake, since you have the ability to do it now.
I understand.
So there was a little bit of a setback. Because what viewpoint, Michael Chastanet viewpoint. What I saw, I can say that by June 1, the patients will be moving to that hospital.
Wow, we need to ring the bell.
From what I saw, there's no question that on June 1,
Yeah.
patients will be moving into that.
And you're not the architect, you're not the
I'm not,
contractor.
I'm just
from
going,
your own
I've
point
done
of
a
view.
lot of building over the years.
Yes.
I made my own assessment.
Right.
And that is not any information I got from any
I
of us.
understand.
And I want to make sure that the Labour Party does not go out and say now that I have said.
And you said St. Jude.
That's my prediction from
Yes.
what I saw.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else, Connor?
No, I hope that is correct.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you something. Nothing is cast of stone. You could have massive range, you could have something else. I'm just saying from my experience as a person who's been doing building for the last 30, 40 years, when I saw the quality of work going on there and what is going on, and with the questions that I asked, I'm making an assumption that on June 1st, the people will move.
All right. And that was not the minister. Thank you, Connor.
If you were a politician, you would say May 31st.
Now, based on... Okay, let's do another caller. Beautiful morning to you, hello? Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Why is that? what we got. What was he saying?
Oh, that's before the program officially started.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes,
right.
yes.
My apologies.
I want to see what you get there. Do you put measures in place, say you have a house and you live in an area and see? Do you make a case that is repeat to put in regular or you try to put it in measures to prevent the things before everything?
Oh, that has to be put in the head.
These days you have to put more than burglar bars, you know.
Yeah.
You have to rate fencing.
I'll tell you why. After we had our, how to deal with the coronavirus, it's like a after we had our first outbreak, what we noticed at the supermarket, when they put the restrictions they put in terms of the bag, was afterwards, and government anticipating that there was going to be illegal parking over the festivity. I believe
Now let me say something, Colin. Stay with me 1 minute. We know the festive season, people hang out, people go out. We had Asu Square previously before coronavirus and everything else. Would you agree with me that that spread came about not with public activities as opposed to home gatherings? And I'll explain myself. Because the only shantytown was reported, and I'm saying only shantytown was reported that there was a public gathering, something in the vicinity of Asu Square. But everything else, and I deliberately drove around, well, not all of St. Lucia, but most of it, to make sure that I was trying to observe whether or not there were any public gatherings during the festive season, and I could not find any. So, hold on. In my own opinion, that spread came about with persons doing their own gatherings at their homes, and maybe little parties at their homes. Yeah. I saw that too. I saw that. But did you personally saw any public gathering during the time?
But caller, let me say something to you, please. I thought about what you just said because I too was concerned. But the conclusion I came to was that the CMO and the Prime Minister had made it quite clear that we were to keep the same protocols, social distance and everything. And I kind of said to myself, I think St. Lucians, are so hardwired to the Christmas. I know they might not go out and have a big fete, but I also know, although the CMO said it's okay, small gatherings of families, my mind also told me, Caller, that they would go beyond the small gatherings, etc. Especially so many St. Lucians came in for the Christmas season. I heard over 1,000. So I suspected there would be some kind of increase in coronavirus after Christmas.
Based on tradition.
I heard so.
Yeah. Especially at Christmas time.
No, I don't think our people have that discipline as yet.
Especially
I don't want to put anybody down, but I doubt very much. Especially someone who has been away for a long time. I don't think so. I don't think as much as 80%, because of the virus, I don't think. I would say at least 50% of them would not keep. Yeah.
Now, Paula, let me say to you, I would really like to apologize to you because we have gone over our time, so I'll give you another minute. Let me take back on my word to ask you one question. How much blame are you putting on the authorities and how much blame are you putting on the citizenry for the spread? Yeah, so how much blame is people on the two parties? What percentage? Alright, I
want to agree with your last statement because I was going to ask you a question. How much blame do you put on the citizenry? Because I would say overall, and that would be my question to you, but I'll answer the question. Overall, I think that the government has done the best job it could and better than all of the islands, including Barbados. Including Barbados. All of the islands in the Caribbean, St. Lucia has done the best in fighting the coronavirus. I don't think, I wouldn't say that there's not room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. At one time, people used to say, the opponents of the government, always follow Barbados, follow Barbados. That is the attitude of a slave, you know. We are smart enough and we have knowledge enough to know what we should have done.
Yeah.
I think to a large extent we have done it.
Yes, thank you. All right, quickly. Right, yes.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Wow, boy, give me some of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah. So caller, let me engage you again. So it is fair to say that the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, in keeping our economy going, is a good thing. No, but you just said Trinidad.
That is the word. That is the word, caller.
Yeah.
Balance, balance, balance. The Prime Minister has used that word.
Yes.
The Minister of Tourism uses
Right.
it all the time. We must balance between the coronavirus and the economy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, caller, talk to us next week. Talk to us next. Listen to me, the two gentlemen I have here, they have instructed me once it's 1 minute after 12 we're out of there. We have a 2-hour show, so we have already gone 10 minutes over, okay? Quickly again, please. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Thanks a lot,
Connor, you're right. I suspect a lot of people are afraid of vaccines and things, but you know what? We have to keep moving forward. Somebody said if they're going to hell,
we have to
get forward.
So, Michael, you think we can make one more? Alright, that's going to be our final call for the afternoon. Special good afternoon to you. Yes, sir. Yes.
Voilà. Ma salle même mon ben no briefcase encore.
So, qui ça voulait maman de ou pas ça madame madame minila?
Non.
Rika Malo.
Moi là qui souhait puis compra petit compra a fini.
Qui m'a dit benche compra? OK.
Coudez-moi. Là-bas en anglais on a dit let lying dogs sleep. Let sleeping dogs lie. Chien qui a dormi, qui t'a couché dormi.
Bon, pas couper personne chien. Changer ou pas couper personne chien.
Pas couper personne chien. Là, notre bail, on a dit live well alone. So, as far as I'm concerned, ma connaître rien about ça, on a dit.
Autant réponse là, quoi.
Ok. So, on a souhaité un bon jour avec un bon année aussi, hein, frère? Ouais. I'll kill us about me, okay?
Okay,
all right. Merci.
Okay, he's been calling all week to find out about that briefcase story. So, Michael, before you leave, I know you always give us a little something on the development, what is happening, anything in regards to the bridge in Colisac. I know you said it in your preamble.
I'll tell you something. I'm really excited, Champagne, even from a personal point of view, to witness the level of engineering that's going to take place in Colisac.
Yes.
This is going to be the bridge of the year.
Wow.
I mean, I have to meet a couple of the Japanese technicians and got an insight of what they're going to do.
Wow.
It is unbelievable.
Wow.
Colisac will be transformed and saved as a result of what they are going to do. Because that bridge is so small, it chokes the water out. Okay.
Yes.
The other information I got unofficially, I say unofficially, it seems the government is definitely going to take a decision to move all the containers
we want to ring the bell on that.
And I understand they have made arrangements with an individual who already has the facilities in the Colisac area to move everything. So I'm hoping and praying that before the end of February, I will see all those containers out of the dock. I say I hope and pray.
Yes, you said unofficially anyway.
Because I just wish to see the end of this confusion in the Castries area, because there's so much that can be done once these containers are out. So this is what I'm looking forward to.
Anything on the Hyatt? Anything yet? Nothing yet on the Hyatt?
What I understand, definitely, these people are putting up two hotels. The Choiseul Hotel and the one in Point Seraphim.
Okay.
I understand only yesterday that within 30 days that we will see the movement in Point Seraphim for the Hyatt Hotel. And what I understand, remember there was a road problem around the Hyatt one.
That's the one, not for the one. Okay, yes, Abu Shah area, yes.
The government have decided to move the road, but the people are waiting till they actually see the action move
of the road.
Prior to their start. That's what I've heard.
Okay. All right. Great stuff.
This is my.
Well, there's a whole lot more. Any last words, Mr. Josie?
I would like to add, Champagne, and your listeners and Sir Michael, with a simple question. A simple question. I will not answer the question. I just ask it. Who is best prepared and suited to create a climate of joy, of peace, and of love and prosperity for the people of St. Lucia in the years ahead? Is it Alan Michael Chastanet, Prime Minister, or is it Philip J. Pierre, Leader of the Opposition? Who is better prepared and suited to lead St. Lucia into a climate of joy, of peace, of love and prosperity in the years ahead?
In all of my life, this is the easiest question to be answered, but I'm not going to answer today.
I asked the question. I said, I know the answer.
On our next show, maybe tomorrow morning, Champagne, you can repeat that question. And hear what you have to say. St. Lucia, it was wonderful to be here with you again. We enjoyed today. We enjoyed all the contributions made to
the phone calls coming in.
The phone calls coming in, and we look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday.
Next
Thank
Wednesday,
you
God
so
willing.
very much.
All right, gentlemen, thank you.
So keep that question going, champion.
And
Thank you.
next Wednesday, you need to just trim a little bit on the hair. It was beautiful last Wednesday. This year, you seem to be, you're an Indian. You have cool hair.
Well, let's put it that way. I'm a perfect mixture of what a St. Lucian should be. Okay?
Okay. All right, gentlemen, thank you once again. And St. Lucia, thank you very much for tuning in into Sky FM, into the program with our two statesmen, the Honorable, well, I shouldn't call him Honorable because I should call both of them Honorable. They are honorable men, Sir Michael Chastanet and the Honorable Mr. Peter Josie. And thank you, gentlemen, once again for coming in. And we want to also thank GVD TV, Channel 115, for recording this program. It will be aired again tomorrow.